Welcome to our 5 on 5. Please be joined in studio by Representative Greg Walden, of course, doing good social distancing. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time.
It's good to be with you.
So do you believe your tenure in Congress helped expedite the FEMA relief? You are, after all, the only Republican in our congressional delegation. You personally showed the president photos of all that damage.
You know, I think it helped. I really do. The good news is we'd already set aside the money for FEMA. They've got $30 billion in their bank account. So Congress had done that. And you know me, I used every chance I have to get our issues before those who make the decisions. And we needed the president's help. He moved in less than 24 hours to confirm the governor's request for the major disaster declaration. And the rest is on its way. So, you know, we got a lot more work to do, though, and we're all pulling together in the delegation. So I think we made a difference, and we'll continue to.
We're recording this Saturday afternoon right after the delegation did its tour. You're a former broadcaster. You know all about the Emergency Alert System, or EAS as people might know it, and how it's distributed countywide to all broadcasters. Jackson County instead chose to use the more targeted Everbridge Citizen Alert System that calls landlines and cell phones of people who had previously signed up. Through your conversations and your 2 visits now to the fire, do you know why it wasn't used?
You know, what I've been told is there was a lot going on. They were trying to save lives, pull people out of homes, and just a lot of activity. And they were stressed out in terms of their ability to do a lot of different things. Now, as you mentioned, I was a broadcaster for more than 20 years and have actually wired in the emergency alert system in our radio stations. There's a book in the control room. There are plans that are in place. The emergency alert system is an extraordinarily important part of notifying people when there is an emergency. My own belief is we need to figure out why it wasn't used and make sure that doesn't happen again. It was used in other counties during these fires, in other places in Oregon, and we need to figure out what happened here. Look, cell towers go down, landlines get burned out. The one thing about the emergency alert system, it goes right out over the airwaves to many. You don't have to sign up. And so if you're listening to the radio, watching TV, either over the air or on cable, it cuts in and people are used to it. And so it's the sort of thing that's designed for this very purpose. And, you know, let's figure out what happened here that prevented its use.
I want to switch gears to the shocking COVID diagnosis of the president. What was your initial reaction when you first heard?
Well, you know, I was surprised, frankly, because I was with the president twice in like 2 weeks ago, and had to be tested both times before I could get anywhere close to the president, and maintain distance. And so, you know, but it also tells you how vicious this virus is, how easily it spreads. And I remember early on in January, February, we were originally told asymptomatic people probably don't spread the disease. And then we find out, no, that's not true. And now we know it spreads quite easily. It did not die off in the summer like flus often do. And so it's going to be with us for a while. That's why I'm impressed with what the administration's done with Operation Warp Speed and our great scientists at these various pharmaceutical companies that are working on vaccines to attack it. I can't wait for the day 2020 is behind us and a vaccine is working and killing off this virus once and for all.
A lot more to come with Congressman Greg Walden. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Congressman Greg Walden. Congressman, everyone across the political spectrum certainly wants the president to have a full and speedy recovery. Do you think this will have any effect on his campaign? We are just 4 weeks from Election Day.
Well, sure. I mean, he loves to get out and do these big rallies. It's been part of his key to success. But I think, like all Americans, regardless of your party or views, you don't want anybody to be sick from this virus, and especially want the president and the first lady to recover fully, and all those others who have been diagnosed. But I think you know, you got Mike Pence out there filling in, and the president hopefully gets through this and recovers fully and quickly. But you know, this is a tough virus, and you talk to people who have had it. It takes a while to recover.
I could ask about an hour's worth of questions about the debates, but I'm going to ask you just one because we have some other things to discuss. Do you think the American people would be better served if the Commission on Presidential Debates were to cut the mic of candidates when they don't follow the rules?
Yeah, you know, that's a good question. Look, we've seen debates go a long way from when, I remember George H.W. Bush looked at his watch and that kind of ended things for him, they said, to what we saw the other night. And I don't know, I think you got to follow the rules, and I would be for cutting off the mics. I've been in a lot of debates. Now look, there's always a little bit over, and you've moderated debates, you know, you have the rules, and then you let people finish, and sometimes there's a lot of energy in the room, and you kind of need to let that play out too. I've seen where the audiences have intervened and shouldn't have, or moderators have intervened and shouldn't have. But everybody does it their way, and so we'll see. Hopefully the next debate will be able to be had. I hope the President's in good enough shape after the coronavirus that we can get another opportunity to see them, and the Vice President's debate will be good too.
Democrats want more money in COVID relief package than Republicans right now. Can a middle ground be reached to help struggling Americans?
You know, up until this last go-around, Republicans and Democrats worked together in the House on the COVID relief packages. We were not consulted on the Heroes 1 or Heroes 2 bills with the Democrats. They went ahead on their own and are just talking to the Senate and to the administration. But look, in the meantime, they could have moved forward on freeing up the $130 billion that could be put out to small businesses tomorrow. It's in a fund. It can't be spent because the authorization's expired. They could have moved ahead with rescuing the airlines and putting off these layoffs of 20, 30,000 people working in the airlines. There's a lot of things we could have found common ground on had they wanted to sit down and work with us. I think there's more work needs to be done in this period. Hopefully, as we're recording this, they're working out an agreement. I was on the phone with the White House on the way down here on some issues in our jurisdiction in the Energy and Commerce Committee that I hope they get into a package. So hopefully this will get behind us, put politics behind us, and get a package done for the American people. They're hurting, they need help.
Yeah, so much happening with politics, as I mentioned, so many questions. But I do want to ask you about Congressman Bob Smith. He passed away a couple of weeks ago now. You two were close. What's your favorite story with Congressman?
You know, I first met Bob Smith when I was 12 or 13 years old. They'd recruited my dad to run for the legislature, and I remember we went to Salem to see him. He was Speaker of the House at that time. And Bob, as you know, a big, tall guy, and I was not. And I just remember what a towering figure he was then and how impressed I was and how kind he was. And what a force for Eastern Oregon. And we became friends over the years. He was my mentor. He really gave voice to our district and stood up for our way of life. He was a mean harmonica player and a great storyteller and an incredible patriot and really did good things for our country. And I keep Kay and the family in our prayers. It's a big loss. He wrote a lot of chapters in Oregon history from his time in the legislature to his time in the Congress. And we will miss him, but we will not forget him.
Well, I thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for taking the time. I hope this is not the last time we see you while you're in office.
No, I hope to be back here in the not too distant future. There's more work to be done, clearly, to deal with this devastation in Phoenix and Talent and elsewhere in the Valley. So I hope to be back soon.
Congressman, thanks very much.
Good to be with you.
All right, we'll be right back.